Crystal Joy.
And I'm David Raziel.
And this is I'm Psychic.
I guess.
This is a show where we challenge the idea that anybody can be a psychic by trying to become psychics, even though we don't know what we're doing.
How do we do that, Crystal?
We try to do all the things that the internet says you're supposed to do to be psychics. What those things are, we're still figuring it out.
Oh, internet, you never let us down.
And we are seeing if things are true or bullshit, taking a skeptical lens to everything that we do, and also being open-minded at the same time. It's a very strange juxtaposition.
We try our best here. As always, we're not perfect. We might fuck up. We might miss a few things, and that is your job to let us know.
It's not anybody's job. It's our job to not be idiots, but...
It's your job to fucking tell me, all right, you piece of shit? No, joking. We might not get things right, and if you know, then please feel free to leave comments down below and be respectful, but we'll look at them and try to correct our ways.
This is a journey. It's inevitable. We're going to get things wrong. Just let us know in kind, and we will adjust more than happily. Because we want to know, we want to learn, we want to grow. That's what this is all about. Grounded approaches to stuff that is kind of crazy. Welcome, kiddos.
Hello, they's phase.
Hello, the they's phase and all them gays. Is that what it was?
Sound like that. It's good.
I have to listen to it again. So the goal is to have this be caught up to our weekly psychic growing experiences. But we've been doing this... We're trying to do this
for a while now.
For a year or two now.
Yeah.
So we're catching y'all up so we don't sound like crazy people when we talk. And
so that when we speak, you know what we're talking about and what we're referencing.
Also sharing any interesting stuff that happened that week. Hey, David, anything interesting happened this week?
I found out I had a brain tumor. No, joking.
No, you did not.
Upset at me.
Well, can I tell the lie? Can I tell the secrets? This is filmed the same day as the last episode. Nothing has happened.
Because I changed my shirt.
We changed our shirts.
I changed my pants.
It's been a really weird week. And so we were filming two in one day. That normally doesn't happen. We try to keep it as week to week as possible. With that out of the way, normally we talk about that. If anything happened, what are we talking about this week?
Last episode, we were finishing up maintaining your own energy. So this episode, we're going to continue just running that thought off.
What we didn't get to.
And then we're going to talk about how that branches over into protections.
Yes, because a few people... have asked specifically, can we talk about protections?
Right. And we're here to answer that call.
We're here to help. So we left off last time on some really interesting stuff that people could apply and try and experiment with, which I implore all of you to do. What we didn't get to last week is tips for doing that daily. Because we said a lot of stuff, right? And it could be a little overwhelming. So how does one implement those things on the daily? Well,
you mentioned that they are sequential.
Yeah.
So then how would you maintain it?
How would you maintain it? I mean, practice. How do you maintain it? I mean, you're the one who's like attempting. You can't do a lot of stuff week to week.
Right.
So I've told you and I've been telling you, like, just do your thing. Try to meditate when you can and do your ground shield, blah, blah, blah. How do you maintain it?
First, I don't.
God.
And then, all right, if I in a perfect world, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I get to work, do my preliminaries to settle in. Then if I can, I prefer to do it in the morning. Try to find 10 minutes to get in a quiet space and quiet my mind. The goal is being present.
Yeah.
Right? And actually, no, because you were speaking recently about how you were able to quiet your mind.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week.
Right. You said while being open to these different things, you were being present, right? Isn't that roundabout?
Are you talking about the sitting in silence or sitting in the power?
Sitting in the power.
That's a part. That's on my notes. We're going to get to that.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what I would do in the morning.
But you don't know how to do that.
But I don't know how to do that.
So what do you do then?
I haven't. That's what I was trying to say in the beginning. I have not.
So you don't do any clearing, any grounding at all through your day?
Well, no. When I interact with people, I clear.
Okay, so what does that look like?
It looks like, hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, you have a lot of whatever energy, whether it's sad or happy. Well, if it's happy, I usually don't do it. But if it's like anything that's I deem as affecting my person in a negative way, I have the waterfall go down and clear that energy off of me.
Okay. So you mostly focus on clearing. We don't ground during the day or anything.
Not really, because I'm on the move.
What about shielding? We don't do that.
And I shield. I shield when I know I'm going to go into a room that already is very energetically active. So if I'm going to have to speak to a boss, or if I'm going to have to speak to a group in a panel or something like that, or deal with a client that's very aggro already, I'll try to shield my energy so that I'm not affected and I can deal with it in a very polite way.
Okay, that's solid. What about gathering ambient energy and any of those things? Have you...
I have not on the
daily,
I just learned about the ambient thing.
Did you? I swear I told you about that ages ago when I learned it.
Okay, I do know that how to get energy from outside. Yes, that is something. I didn't know the many dimensions of me, though, and all that
many
other stuff.
dimensions of me?
Me being in everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you not know that? I told you that?
Yes and no. I didn't think of getting energy ambiently that way.
Oh, yeah, because you're... Yeah. That was a very trippy moment of last episode.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. I thought there was energy
that's
out
yours,
there. There's my energy, and then there's energy that's out there, and I'm taking in that energy.
Well, yeah. We'll touch on that really quick, but like, it's one of those things that you don't really think about, but when you get right down to it...
God damn it, when you get down to it.
There is no you. I know, it's crazy. There is no you. There is no I. The I is what is the ego, and like, yeah, there is a you, and there is your spirit or your whatever, your energy, but there's also, it is just... energy that is being utilized by this.
Okay, silly question though. Silly question. That's half serious.
Okay.
If there's no I, is there a we?
There is only is. There is only energy.
But I love you.
I love you too.
She's taken, y'all. All right, I want you to understand that she's taken. There might not be a we, but there ain't a yous either.
Oh, stop that.
All right?
You're so stupid.
Okay. Just want to throw that out there.
It is a very trippy idea. We'll get into filters, actually. That's a great mention into something we're going to talk about later today, is the filters of understanding, like why we're like, okay, I need energy from outside of myself versus my energy. It's the filter of which we look at reality. The filter, it's like the lens, like the rose-colored glasses. Those rose-colored tinted glasses are what I mean by a filter. They alter the way you perceive things, right? Mm-hmm. So the filter that we have an understanding of collectively, there is me and then there's everything else. So to engage with energy and have it be effective, we would be engaging through that filter, which is there is me and then there's everything else. But also, you are all things. And one of the goals of certain types of meditations is to become all
one
things.
With a thing. Yeah, that
and
I did know.
it's very interesting. So then you realize, oh, there is no actual separation because all of this energy came from the same source.
Right. That's right.
So then that's where that gets into.
For some reason, when I'm meditating, it seems to like slip my mind that is, like, I remember the teaching outside of it, but when I'm doing the meditation, it's kind of hard to all bring that all together.
Well, it depends on the meditation. And the guy, like, is it guided? Is it just you? What are you trying to accomplish? There's tons of meditations. We'll do an episode on meditations.
If this is a daily upkeep, then it's just me in this minute.
Sure.
And that was a question. So, yeah, I just tend to forget it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's just a fun little aside based off of what you said.
What do you do?
What do? I try my best to ground, shield, clear as frequently as I can through the day.
Like every time you remember?
Anytime I remember.
Wouldn't you just remember right after you did it?
Well, I already did it.
When do you do it again?
I have my go-tos. Like, what I've trained myself. Like, I'm a deconstructor, Quentin. Hi, if you listen to this podcast, you hear me say that every fucking episode. I am repurposing habits that were already there.
Oh, so like when you eat?
Before I eat, instead of praying, like I do take a moment to be grateful, because gratitude is another way to manipulate energy. That's a whole other episode. God, we have so many episodes to get into. I'm grateful for the present moment. I become present, blah, blah, blah. Right. But then I take it as an opportunity to clear my energy, ground and shield, and call my energy back. And I do it, but when I go to the bathroom.
And you do it when you poop?
When I go bathrooms, yeah. When I do poops.
Hold on, what part of Christianity is that?
That's a completely different thing.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Is that God? That's...
Thank you, Jesus, for this shit right now.
No, oh my God. That's a completely different thing. I was like, and then there was that, and then there's the other times that I do it now.
Oh, okay. There's additives, there's extra ones.
Yes.
Now. Okay, so what do you just like?
I just you're clearing waste out of your body, so I'm clearing energetic waste off of my space.
Physically and mentally.
Yes, and energetically.
I've not done that. I'm not gonna hold you. But then again, if I'm pooping, I'm probably pooping at work. And let me tell you. You know what? Let me not tell you.
Don't, please. It's not that kind of podcast, David, please. I also make sure
Let me know in the comments if you want to know.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't. I will delete them. Don't do that.
Silencing.
Menace. He's a menace.
Good.
I also do it before I fall asleep. Sometimes you just don't want certain dreams. You don't want bad dreams. You don't want like potential like bits and pieces getting all up on you while you sleep.
I do that too.
I don't want, drifting energetic shit all up in my space while I'm not conscious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. So I do it before I sleep as well.
Well, you mean you don't lucid dream?
I do. I have done energetic and magical shit while I was dreaming. There's a whole word. I don't know the word for it, but there's a word for doing, like getting lucid.
Dreamomancy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Lucid dreaming mancy.
Where you get lucid and then you purposefully do energetic work in your dream. And like do magical stuff and shit when you're dreaming. Oh, it's so cool.
Back so what were we doing?
I do want to say dreams and shit and doing cool shit. I don't know. I'm gonna make that an episode. Okay, so doing it as often as I can. Oh yeah, that's how we got there. Sleep. Doing it before sleep. Just doing it anytime you can. Anytime you think about it. Doing this quick, like however feels right for you. Doing it as quickly as you can. Practice, 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 and just doing it often will be like, oh, okay.
What you said about how we did it in Christianity and transferring it to now, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Why is that?
Because habitually in Christianity, you did it before eating, you did it before sleeping, not before pooping. I mean, no judgment.
Hey, I don't know what kind of church you went to.
No judgment. But it makes sense. And that's when you would do it.
Like I already have
Interestingly enough,
these moments, yeah.
thinking of it that way, people who, pray to Mecca and stuff, they would probably shield in more if they were into this.
Oh, you mean like...
Well, they do it periodically throughout the day.
Yeah, they like 5 times a day they have to stop and do this thing. Yeah, so if you're, I don't know, if somebody deconstructs from that kind of rigid, like timed system, yeah, you could probably replace it with just a quick like ground and I always like to toss in be grateful when I can.
Be grateful is a really great thing.
That's
to
like
do.
That's
like a really good thing for your mental.
Yeah.
In general.
Everything is in your mind, man. Oh, that's an episode. Everything is in your mind. Oh,
you stop it right now.
I'm sorry. Guys, there's so many. I want to go off about all of these things as I'm talking, and I'm not.
That's the tie-in to. That's the tie-in from the last time when we were speaking, and
then we have like tips. Basically, everything is magical. This is another episode, but the more mundane things you do, the more magical they are. And when I say magical stuff, I want to make sure I'm talking very clearly because this is more of like this is an episode where things are both psychic, but also magically themed and spiritually themed. Life is magical, right? Society puts those kinds of things in a box where if you're not doing illusion card tricks magic, you are talking to the devil and you are supposed to be burned and you're getting into stuff that you shouldn't be getting into. But when I'm repurposing that word, I'm reclaiming that word because everything is magical. Everything is spiritual. Existence, life, everything is that, right? So the more mundane things you do with an intention of getting to know yourself and getting to be one with the world around you and stuff, those are all very magical practices. There's a sparking of magic in those things. And also on a practical thing, which is this other episode that we'll do eventually, that is the fundamentals of magical practice.
Interesting.
So you don't have to like have a fucking I'm not a witch or I'm not a blah 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 label ass bullshit. You can just be living, engaging with energy, learning how to feel it and flow with it and change it and shift it as you can. And that in and of itself is magic. That in and of itself is magical. If you're doing those things, then you're magical. Congratulations.
If you're existing, you're magical.
Yeah. All that to say, I'm about to say some very mundane things that does not make them equally as impactful on an energetic level because everything is magical. Go outside. I don't follow that advice. I should. You need to be going outside.
Why does going outside bring you energy?
What do you think it does? Why would it?
The sun?
Sure, sometimes.
Like
sure.
Going out and...
Getting that glorious vitamin D?
Yeah, is that why?
Sure. Partially.
Partially. Trees and birds.
But what about the trees and the birds?
Well, the birds and the bees. No.
No, not that kind of podcast, David!
The trees, they give you oxygen.
Sure.
So the oxygen is in your body, and technically that feeds your muscles, which kind of gives you energy.
Sure.
There's more to that. There's food, I know.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but bird sounds tell, I forgot what part of your brain, but the part of your brain that gets anxious and goes fight or flight, like, I'm going to die. Like that part, it calms down when it hears birds because our like ancient caveman brain is like, oh, there's not predators around. There are birds because birds leave when there are predators. So I am safe. So if you hear birds, you feel safe.
Interesting. So the true predator makes fake bird sounds.
Oh, shit. Oh my God.
Thinking outside the box. Just saying.
It's a terrifying monster.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The true bird box. Sorry.
Thanks, David, for that. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what's the real reason?
I mean, those are all valid reasons. You go outside because you get to have the benefits of fresh air. You have the benefits, the psychological and physiological benefits of the oxygen and the sun and the birds and what happens with your brain. And there's also what we talked about in that one episode, 2 episodes ago, I think, about grounding and the electron exchange that happens when you put your feet on the ground. And there's a number of physical and psychological benefits.
I do feel good when I put my feet on actual dirt.
Yeah.
Which if you have not done, highly recommend. Even for just the feeling of it, it's just feels nice.
It does. It feels great to be outside, and it feels good to be a square. Real hip to be a square. Hip. And squares are like Earth. Of the shapes, it's the most earthiest one. See, guys? You're welcome.
That's true.
It's hip to be a square. Go outside. This is the kind of fucking knowledge that gets dropped on my podcast, Beach.
So, going outside.
Yeah.
What else?
On top of that, there's also getting in tune. I want to go like this, but it's too high. There's getting in tune with the elements. Huh?
Nothing. Go ahead. It's so cool. Goddamn.
Goddamn.
How you doing? This is that kind of podcast.
This is that kind of podcast. Sorry, for those who are on audio, we're being silly gooses with my really high-backed chair. Okay. You get to engage with the elements and become energetically attuned to them.
Elements like...
Well, earth, fire, fodder.
Fodder?
Fire, father. I don't...
Earth, wind, fire?
Water. Earth. Yeah, you said earth already. Yeah.
I said it twice?
Earth, I said it. I said it again, you didn't say it, but then you had already said it. I'm tired.
No, you're fine. So that makes sense. Okay.
Like in my
We're fire.
Well, the earth, the sun, heat.
Oh yeah, I did that. I said the sun.
Anything that you touch that's hot, you are engaging with a fire. So in my practices, in my magical workings, I'm trying to, become one with nature and understand these things. But in the book that I told you about last time, I think it was 11 Magical Something Arts, blah, 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 Donald Michael Craig. If you about that life, you know what I'm talking about. It talks about, go lay down in the fucking grass for, a week or some shit. I can't do that. I live in Manhattan. There's probably hypodermic needles in the park. I'm not going to do that. But
Not even regular needles.
Yeah. Find it to be very helpful to be able to tune in and taste the flavor and be familiar with the flavor of certain types of energy.
I'm glad you didn't say grass, but go ahead. You taste the different flavors of the grass. But go ahead.
Well, no, Hank Green will get mad at me if I talk about tasting the flavors of grass. Honestly, I don't think Hank Green would like this podcast in general, even though I think you're cool, Hank Green. I'm sorry that you probably hate this podcast. Anyway.
Aw, it was nice meeting you. You won't remember me.
I was so mad I didn't get to meet Hank Green. I walked away for 2 seconds. That's a story that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
David got to meet Hank Green. I didn't because I forgot my badge. Anyway, whatever. Story for another time. Getting in tune with the elements, getting familiar with what they feel like, the more ability that you can tune into energies and be like, oh, that's this energy. Oh, that's energy. The actually better you're going to be out doing psychic ability because you can differentiate the flavors of energies a little bit better.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of benefits to going outside. And then we have setting boundaries in general.
Yeah, so what was it, setting boundaries with people?
In your life, if you're trying to manage your energy.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say, even if this is absolute hogwash, we always approach it with if this was true, what does it benefit? It benefits your mental health. It benefits your confidence in yourself. It benefits your relationship with yourself and the world around you.
Right.
Right. And it takes us out of this me mindset that the world kind of wants us to be in. Right. While also respecting and honoring yourself. Just want to say that. So that goes into living your life in a way that doesn't create little openings or cracks in the wall for energies that you don't want to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, oh, I've cleared my energy and I don't want this makes me feel bad unnecessarily and I don't want to deal with it. It's not mine. Get it out of here, blah, blah, blah. And then you go willingly speak to this very toxic friend that you have no business speaking to.
Mm.
You can clear and clear and clear all you want. That's you're calling them. You're picking up the phone.
Mm.
You're not setting your boundaries. And that's where mental health starts getting into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tell me words about mental health.
Well,
go off.
They do say you are who you hang out with for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They affect your personality, right? Something about you, they say, usually clicks with them. But honestly, on an energy level, your energies are mixing. So obviously, what you're doing is going to reflect them in some capacity, depending on how much time you spend with them. Mm-hmm. And vice versa as well. But you become like, this person is prone to toxicity, more toxic.
Yeah. And it's not just friends. It's people. Anybody. It's like a psychological crack in the wall. It's like a psychological door where you got to be setting boundaries with people.
Right.
It can be anybody. If you're not setting those boundaries, if you're not standing up for yourself, you are allowing, it's a psychological allowing, a subconscious allowing, which we'll actually get into when we get into the specifics about protections. This all has to do with, like, if you're not doing these things, your protections are going to be kind of wonky.
Why do you need protections in the first place?
We'll get there. I do want to cover this, and then we'll get there.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have asked about protections, so that's why we're going to talk about them. But first, it's the importance of this, I'm clearing my energy, and I'm managing my space, and I'm shielding, but then you're doing, like, actual physical and tangible actions, or even psychological subconscious actions that are allowing that energy into the space. So it's like you're kind of undoing your work.
So you're spending the time to do this protection / blocking.
Or
and
clearing
then,
or managing.
And you're like, but you can always come in just a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want this person to be, like, bothering me. Like, I don't care. I'm over it. But then we're stalking their Instagram.
They're doing the...
But then they're like, well, what are they
doing?
The door
crack.
Uh-huh. Right now.
Right now.
I think that's how I Met Your Mother joke.
I think so.
I think I'm not ready for a relationship right now. Yeah, the door opens a little bit. It's that energetic crack in the door.
Yeah.
And so you're not really cleared of it.
Okay.
That's where shadow work and understanding yourself and being mindful and finding value in yourself and setting healthy boundaries.
Mental health does affect your ability to concentrate in general.
Yeah.
So I imagine that does hold hand in hand with actually keeping your protections up.
Yeah, and your energy clear and managing your energies as fully and completely as you can, right? So if you're not being mentally healthy, if you're not being well, if you're not treating yourself and your sleep and all these things, it's going to be harder and harder to manage your energy, right? And also if you're engaging with people who are trying to, like, energy vampire you, or if you're being a toxic person, which back before we started this series, we have an episode talking about toxic stuff. I think that's all extremely important, is setting physical boundaries that support your energetic wellness.
What's a physical boundary for that?
I'm not going to answer the phone when this toxic person that I know is trying to talk to me.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I'm not going to allow X person to force me to be their therapist. I'm not going to hang out and do whatever it is that puts me in a bad place. And that's different for everybody.
All the drugs.
Yeah. That's different for everybody.
So
you
much
know what
drugs.
I mean?
Yeah.
So being the most healthiest, most loving version of yourself that you can be.
Well, isn't it not loving to not be, like, go with them? Like, you know, say, like, I'm not going to spend time with you.
What do you think? Mr. People Pleaser?
Don't call me out. How dare you? How fucking dare you? No, it's not. It's not.
Why?
Because you got to love yourself too. And you got to love yourself so that you love people who are actually good for you in the best way that you can.
And also people pleasing is a form of manipulation because you're trying to force people to treat you a certain way.
Yes.
By behaving a certain way. Whereas if you just love yourself as you are and know what you deserve, you don't need those people to love you. You can just keep it moving.
That's right. It's a form of manipulation for you to try to get them to do what you want them to do.
And if they are, you have to accept them for where they are and who they are. And often accepting does not mean aligning. I can accept that somebody's there. I want to hear what you have to say. Keep that in mind, but I want to finish this thought. You can accept people for who they are and where they are without aligning yourself with them and their energy.
That's true.
I love and accept that certain people in my life, like, I get how they got there. I understand their thought process. I feel for them even to a certain point. But also, that is none of my fucking business. And I am not going to align myself with it.
No, that's fair.
I accept. I love. Peace out, motherfucker. I'm going to mind my business. And then keep moving.
Those who mind don't matter. And those who don't matter, mind.
How does that tie in? What does that matter? What do protections have to do with it? What do you think?
Why do you need protections in the first place? I'm guessing, like, you mentioned blocking other people's toxic energy. So there's that. There is keeping... It's all about keeping you safe, right? It's keeping you safe from what, though?
It depends.
Energies, people's intentions, yourself.
Yeah, maybe.
Really?
It's a variety. It depends.
All right, well, what is the actual answer?
So protections, I'm assuming from what people are asking, is that they're probably magical practitioners of sorts in general, like focused on energetic protections. And also, so we're getting into magical things.
There's energy protections, too.
There's energy protections. Those are all.
The one and the same?
Protections in general is the work of managing your energy in such a way that unwanted stuff is not entering your space and or affecting you in your life.
You're protected.
Yes. So that's basically the answer. What it can be is a number of things. Why people do them. People do it for like protections of spirits. I mean, David, we were in church together.
Yeah.
Give us a hedge of protection for this car ride ahead.
So you had oils. And you had hedge. You had a word of protection. Some Christians would put oil.
Yeah. I made like a handheld like TikTok video about that. It's just all the same shit. It's all magical. They just do it in a way that's
palatable.
That's like they've decided is okay, but it's all the same. Hey, Christians, you do magic when you do protections. Anyway.
That's a hot topic.
Literally in this podcast, life is magical. Magical is not bogarted by this or that or blah, blah, blah. Everything in life is magical. If you are using energy to create a desired outcome, you are doing magical stuff.
That's fair.
That's it. So yes, when you are doing protections, you are doing magic. That's how that works. So it's the same thing, but with a different lens, a different filter now. And we're doing it in such a way that covers a lot of things. We would go, keep us safe on this car ride. We would do, let no evil demons get in my house or
this
whatever.
Is basically word.
What do you mean when you say word?
I mean, like I'm
say
speaking a protection over myself.
That's just the flavor of the day. Like you can speak it. You can do an actual ritual.
That's just one.
Get a physical object and decide that it is a protective object and do workings to ensure that it is. You can, some people circle their home in like eggshells or brick dust or then we start getting into using the flavor of energy in things because particles are everywhere and particles are energy and every object has its own flavor profile of energy, right? Because everything's just tiny little tornadoes of energy. All of those things have their own flavor that accomplish their own their own strengths, their own weaknesses. So you could do physical stuff. Like I said, eggshells around the house, brick dust around the house, put an iron nail in 4 corners of your land or whatever. Like there's a whole bunch of things that you could do. You could say it, you could think it. If you think about it in a way of like all of the elements, how would those things play out in a protective space?
Fire burns away any impurities. Earth will transmute energy into
or bury,
but still transmuting energy into something positive,
or grounding, or keeping still, or stopping.
Yeah. Air
what is air?
Air is mental
and words. So that's where those words come in. That's where these thoughts come in.
Vibrations then?
Possibly, yeah.
Water is cleaning.
It's
purifying.
emotions, it's
purifying.
Creativity, it's purifying. Rivers move things away from you. Currents.
Yeah. Currently.
Oceans. And that's how different like waters have different types of things. So like river water that is rushing is going to give you a certain type of energy of bringing something away from you or moving something away from you.
Yeah.
The ocean can have a very renewing because it's like back and a forth and there's a lot of different ways to do it. So you're not really limited by any one thing. But I said this earlier, protections start with your mundane choices and interactions with others. So that's vital.
So even before we even get into this element stuff, we were talking about just natural, physical shit that you're doing.
Lock your fucking door.
Don't fucking talk to that person.
Don't fucking talk to that person.
If they make you feel sad every time you speak to them or angry or just negative in any kind of way.
I think a big issue that I have with the spiritual community when it comes to such things is like, well, I did this spell so I don't have to wear a mask because I'm protected, or Jesus is going to save me from the fucking virus, so I'm going to avoid the physical actions I can take
Yeah.
to aid in the prevented, because we live in a 3D reality.
Right.
Sorry to tell you, we don't live in La La Land where nothing is 3D. We live in a 3D space. So if you're going to do any kind of protection or avoidance or anything against anything, you need to be aligning your physical behaviors with your magical or energetic choices.
That makes sense.
You have to. So even in the books that I've been reading.
It's interesting they become like the one and the same, even though they would hate each other.
Yes. Like I was reading the book Letting Go. I mentioned it in like past episodes before we got to this series and like the prequel episodes. I loved the book. Great parts of it. But later in the book, it's like, and then you don't even have to wear your glasses and your eyes will get better. I'm so tired of that shit.
They're talking about stuff that's like, I don't know, crazy advanced, and I don't know where is it possible. Maybe,
but from my understanding of reality is that if you're not honoring the fact that you live here, you are disrespecting your humanity and disrespecting your livelihood.
That's a fair statement.
You need to be taking physical actions. Wear your fucking mask, get your fucking vaccines. You need to be locking your fucking doors. In that same book, they're talking about this woman doesn't have security and doesn't lock her doors and nothing bad ever happens to her because she doesn't think that it will. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not gonna like discount the possibility because I'm like, this is an open-minded thing that we're doing, right? But also I live in the real world where energy and the physicality can join.
You know what's interesting though? On the flip side of that, yes, but also there was a time where you were outside, just in places where you should not have been, and you didn't think anything was gonna happen to you, and it didn't.
I mean, yeah, those are some like in my youth making bad choices stories. But was that because my energy was aligned, or was it because I incarnated this time around to accomplish a very specific thing? And those things did not happen to me because of that.
Those world will never know.
The world will never know.
You just be lucky as hell.
In some capacity, in some ways, sure. But at the same time, right, whatever the reason is, when you can take physical precautions, do them. Not even precautions.
Oh, yeah.
There's an alignment. It's a harmony. It's not just all physical and no energy and all energy and no physical.
There's a harmony between the two.
This goes into my understanding of the higher, middle, and lower selves. Everybody wants to separate. Everybody wants black and white and only this and only that and only high vibes, no low vibes, only physical stuff. Energy stuff is bullshit. No. Your higher self is apart from yourself and you have to gain it. No. It is about, you want the secret sauce. You want to understand how to unlock reality and potential and truly be your best version of yourself and get everything that you want in life and all that bullshit that they tell you on the internet. It is merging those two things.
That's
when
fair.
you
got to have a balance of them.
Do both, the yin and the yang. When you do both of those things, when you can join them and have them in harmony together, your work is exponentially more powerful. It's like a superhero, like who only can do their powers, but then they lose their powers and they're fucked. Or the person who doesn't use any powers and like is only like, I got my fisticuffs, but anything outside of that happens, they're fucked. You have superpowers. Living is a superpower. You have the ability to change outcomes based on your desire by taking actions, both energetic and physical.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And it aligns that I'm going to talk about the selves in another episode. Same fucking concept. They are all one together. So to get into, oh God, there's so much more to this.
We might have to cut it into another episode then.
We're going to have to come back next time because I have quite a few things. And next time we'll start getting into tangible stuff that you can do with protections more so than we started on it.
Yeah.
We'll continue on it. I have quite a few more things here about fears and beliefs and why protections work the way they work.
And why the mental of it is so important, even though we just talked about the physical of it.
Yes, the mental of it is equally as important as the physical of it. We focused on the physical, but the two things marry, like we said. So I guess next time we'll talk about that and all those. I have so many things I want to say, but it's already a long episode.
It's already a long. I think we don't even have time for
an intuition test.
All right, well.
We release this podcast every week on any podcast platform of your choice.
Yep. You can follow us anywhere at I'm Psychic, I guess, on any platform.
And we do these short podcast clips. We also do daily little exercises and funsies about what we're doing and how things are.
Yep. And if you want to follow our personal socials, you can follow us at The Doodles. That's at the DOOTLEZ.
At the DOOTLEZ. That's our personals where we're just kind of messing around.
Yep.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye. See you next week.